right, welcome everyone to the Super Speedway Kings Truck Series, and tonight we are at Talladega. Thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast. This is Rick Souza, and I'm joined here in the booth this week by my co-broadcaster, John Derudris. And John, welcome to the Super Speedway Kings.
Yeah, fun showcasing these guys out here and what they do here in the Truck Series. They always put on a good show. I'm looking forward to it. And we got a lot of good names up here fighting for positions in the playoff battle. Let's just kind of note some worthy names. You have Zachary Workman with 2 wins, Gabe Butler with 2 wins, Sebastian Marin with 2 wins. So we have a lot of drivers here that are looking to possibly get their third or maybe even get their first win. So we'll see how this spans out. Gary Jenkins is on the track right now. Qualifying's going on, Rick, but I'm excited to be back up in the booth. These guys are fun to watch here, especially at Talladega.
Sure, Talladega always brings 2 and 3 wide racing, and these guys are not afraid to take it 3 wide and run up by that wall. Certainly, it's fun being a broadcaster. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm broadcasting the race and not just watching it. So.
Exactly. Sometimes, like you said, you get so caught up in watching it, you become a fan. But that's why we all do it here. So looks like all these guys out here trying to make some qualifying runs. Jenkins up at the top of the board with a 55.01 here tonight. See what he's able to do. And there is another big name on the track, Vincent Guerrero, looking to bring home a dub as well. So, Rick, it's Talladega. Anything can happen, here. A lot of fuel strategy is going to play into who's going to bring home the win, as well as who can keep up with their teammates.
Absolutely. And, bear with us tonight, folks. iRacing had a huge update this past week, and that always seems to affect broadcasting and how our software links into iRacing. So we'll do our best with our overlays. If there's a glitch, we apologize up front, but bear with us as we bring you our broadcast. So we're almost done with qualifying here, and qualifying is really not that big a deal with these guys because they know they have the ability to work their way back up the track. One, number two, they've raced around each other for multiple seasons. And know that they can get out there, so and work their way back up to the front.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a trend that holds true here at Talladega. You can win from first, you can win from last, you can win from 2 laps down. It's so wide open that you can't even really predict. So it doesn't really matter where you start out, but, personally, I'd rather be either in the very front or in the very back. So I could either avoid what's going on out front or avoid what's going on out back. So looks like we're getting the grid up for tonight's event here at Talladega. Round 10, I believe, Rick.
Yeah, this is our 10th event so far. Bear with us as we try to bring up the grid. All right, there we have it almost. The grid didn't exactly start where we want it to start, but there it is. There's your grid for tonight.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get through it. Starting on pole, Gary Jenkins with the 55.01 in second. Mr. Guerrero just right behind him in P2. In P3, you have Cody Neagles there in third. Eric Laurie in P4. Joe Delavecchia starting in fifth with David Overstreet in sixth. Charles Johnson in 7th, Sebastian Marin in 8th, Kevin Freese in 9th, and Gabe Butler rounding out your top 10.
Zachary Workman is in 11th on the inside, Robert Rock on the outside in 12th. We've got Brian Kimbler in 13th, Brian Broussard in 14th, Alice Sena in 15th, Edward Fielder in 16th, Richard Sanchez in 17th, Brian Rainville in 18th, Todd Siebels in 19th, Dean Wilkinson in 20th, and John Ward in 21st. All right, looks like the field is beginning to get in. I think they're only missing 1 or 2 entries that have to basically grid up. And once they do, we're getting a nice shot from our overhead. That's our field there, and once these guys get moving, we'll get some shots of the grid.
Let's go ahead and do it. It's going to be a good race, I believe.
Speaking of that, let's get some race info going on.
For sure. So, 77 laps here tonight at Talladega. 2 quick repairs, 68% fuel with 1 qualifying lap. As you saw, pit road speed, 55 miles an hour. Tires probably won't need too much unless you spin. And we have 3 green-white checkers at the end of the event. So, what does that mean for tonight's race? It means you have to pit, and it means you have to be on point with your pit strategy, which is why 78% fuel is always fun here at Talladega. It looks like it's a pretty cool day. There's no humidity. Track temperature's pretty cool, so I guess that means that there's not going to be much flipping and sliding here on the track. So more grip means better moves, more track to run, I guess.
And also that cooler temperature means more speed.
No, yes it does. Yes it does.
All right, so we're on the backstretch now as these guys are taking their pace lap, and we'll be underway momentarily here. We appreciate you tuning in to our Tuesday night series here with the Superspeedway Kings. Always a great race, and with these guys and their driving skills, it's always fun to watch. All right, so we've covered the race and the current race situation. You know, we've got some names to remember. If this is your first time watching, we'll do our best to take you through this. But this is iRacing, and this is the Superspeedway Kings. This is the truck series here, and we'll do our best to take you through. Oh, whoa, what was that?
Oh, we have a car wrecking. That is the 6.
That's Cody Nagels with a little bit of contact there with the 9. Charles Johnson. The lights are still on the pace truck. I'm not sure they're going to let this... Well, we'll just see what happens here. Maybe extend this. So the yellow is out. So I guess they'll wave off the restart.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have to postpone this one. I would guess. Yeah, it looks like they are. Don't know what happened with the 6 there. Definitely got some damage. I don't know if it's going to cost him any time. Here he comes back up through the field. I wonder, do you think he potentially downshifted, trying to maybe save gas early on and just kind of lost it?
I don't know. Let's go back in. Well, we have the ability to back this up. Let's try to see what we can see in replay here. Well, maybe not.
I take that as a no.
Yeah, there may be some contact with the 9. Surely unintentional.
I guess just not paying attention. Yeah, it's kind of what I would call that, because look at that, he got even into the leader too.
Continue to push him, and then he's
just
unfortunately
turned him.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's unfortunate.
Yep, that is. Hopefully, Cody's able to get his car back up in the field and able to hold that position, so and his car won't get too damaged.
Yeah, it looks like they've reset the field, and Cody is back up in the P3 position. I'm not able to hear the chatter with the drivers, but I'm sure it's interesting.
I'm sure it's pretty fun. I'm sure it's exciting.
Animated.
For sure, it has to be animated. You think that's not an animated conversation that's going on right now? At least maybe not out loud, but in the driver's head, I know for sure. But that's an abnormality. That's not something that is typical here in the Superspeedway King series. So we're going to get these cars back underway. Now, keep in mind, this is going to change up the pit strategy just a little bit, because these are green flag laps that they are technically running. So we are technically going to get it started going from 2 to 3. So we'll see how that plays out as this race goes on, if that adjusts anybody's strategy. Look, we had a blinker. That's the 9 car of Johnson back there behind the 6. Pace car's off, Rick. We are about to get underway here at Talladega. 76, 75 laps to go technically, and we're green.
We are green, and we are underway here at Talladega. All right, that's the 90 of Gary Jenkins leading on the low side. He's got that 6 behind him. 38 on the outside. He's got that lead car, the 14. That is Vincent Guerrero with the 071 behind him and the 25 behind him. That's Kevin Freeze. The 06 moves up to that outside line, and you'll see a lot of that tonight. There's a lot of weaving and dancing around between these lines as these guys figure out where they want to run, who they want to run with. You can see there is some damage on that left side, I think, of that here, but we'll see how the day plays out.
Let's hope it doesn't affect him, but we may see that come into play later on. One lap, well, technically, I guess if you want to say, oh, they did reset the laps. Okay, so the laps are reset. We are going to get a full run here. And first lap is going to go not to Cody Neagles. It's going to go to that 071 of Lori there, leading lap 1. I'm sure the 6 truck rather, was like, get me out to the front. Or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I trust the guys behind me. But we'll see what happens as we start to see a third line maybe starting to form up there. We have some side drafting going on. Up on the top side, everybody's spread out right now going into 3 and 4.
Yeah, getting up that outside is certainly not going to be faint apart, but at the same time, you've got to have a good group of guys with you. You cannot do that by yourself. Cody Nagel still continues to lead that low line. The 071 of Lori is on the outside. Lori's got the 25 of Freeze behind him. Nagels has that 14 of Guerrero behind him. And that third line has formed up pretty solidly, led by the 23. 23 is Sebastian Mayer, and he's got the 88 of Gabe Butler behind him, and I think that's the 52.
I believe it is, yes, the 52.
No, I'm sorry, that's the 510. Sorry about that.
Yep, nope, you're right.
Sanchez on the outside, and just as we call it out, the 23 drops down and takes over that low line. So you'll see that a lot. As soon as we call out who's leading that line, it'll change.
It will, yeah. It does. It happens every week. It happens every time here at Talladega. But that 23 machine is not used to being out front. He's been, at least for the races I've called, Sebastian Aaron's always out there in the first position or somewhere near the front here at Talladega, really any race. So we'll see what he's able to do as the 88's now up in the high line, trying to get something going on. But you look there in the back, you start to see that third line has dwindled down to only 2 cars. But in the Super Speedway Kings, we've seen that third line become a big factor. There we go, on point. I believe that was the Nesquik car jumping up to the high side.
Yeah, we'll see that all race. And, these guys know it's 77 laps. There's plenty of time to pull something together. And, they've got a lot of racing ahead of them. Now, with that in mind, what we've seen is around lap 20, lap 21, we see it stretch out a little bit more. It's when we should see the first pit stop start. They run green flag all the way. Then that's when we should begin to see these guys come down in groups.
We should, and that's Super Speedway racing at its final. Oh, a little loose there. Hold it. What a save. Never mind. The 6 got turned. Big wreck on the back. And we are under caution, folks, for the first time tonight. And remember how I said the 6 didn't want to, get spun again, Rick? Well, I think the 6 may have gotten a little help for the second time tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, let's go back and try to figure out just what happened.
Was it the pusher trying to? What was the? I'm thinking the 14 pushed the 6, who got into the John Deere machine that got the 13 loose or the 23 loose.
Well,
there's
the initial contact, and the 071 kind of catches. I think he's touching that right side of his rear bumper, and that's the place you don't want to push with these trucks. So let's kind of look at that again. You see him right there begin to catch the right side of the bumper. He begins to spin a little bit. The 23, he corrects it.
Yep, and he gets the gas too. And yeah, just it looks like the 6 is right there. See, everybody just stacked up at accordion. If you look at the course car of the 90 right there, he gets into the back of the 14, which turns the 6, and then, just nowhere to go for those drivers on the high line. Tough hit for the 19 and the 9 there. Same with the 052 and the 90.
Yep, a lot of guys collected in this. So.
Yep.
All right, we'll expect to see a bunch of our drivers on pit road for not only for fuel, but take care of some of the damage. And here they come. Here
they go. I'm sure Sebastian Marin is like, okay, well, we're getting a little bit antsy early on, getting a big push. He saved it. What a save, though. I got to say, that's probably one of the best ones I've seen, because on the backstretch, it's so hard to save these trucks once they start getting, fishtailing there. So we'll see these guys use that quick repair. You'll see it right there. Boom. Yep, his car is magically fixed. He hit the magic fix button of his quick repair, and they should all probably got some left side tires, it looks like. Everybody's making their way off pit road.
All right, pretty much the entire field has come in, and that's pretty typical here. You're going to get, what we've seen is you'll get one side of tires, top off your fuel, and just like John said, if you need to have a little bit of damage repaired, now is the time to do it. You do have 2 quick repairs. What that means is just what it sounds like. Here, iRacing does allow you, and of course it's set up by the league, that if you have damage, you have the ability to do a redo, to pretty much get a brand new truck and get back out there. All right, so we are under caution here. This is lap 7 of 77. That's the 88 there of Gabe Butler. We'll see how this all shakes out with who's in front of who. I believe our control car is going to be the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. But based on our data, everybody had come down onto pit road. Now some guys like Dean, Eric Laurie, Gary Jenkins, and a few others, Brian Broussard, Joe Dellavecchia, those guys came in and just took fuel. Other guys came down, and if they were involved in that, or they took the opportunity, maybe if they're running at the back, since tires are unlimited, they topped off their fuel, took 4 sets of tires, and basically are starting all over again. Now, a number of guys you see are coming back down onto pit road, and you may ask, why is nearly the entire field coming back down? Well, go ahead, John. Give them.
Every little ounce of fuel matters. Getting that last little bit of gas could make or break your race, because it may come down to 1/10 of a gallon that could get you between that Geico sign right there that we're seeing and the start-finish line, a couple hundred feet, well, more than a couple hundred feet down the track. So it could get you from that Geico sign to the second Geico sign, or it could get you from the Geico sign to the checkered flag to win you that race. So every ounce of fuel matters.
So we saw that last week at at our Atlanta race. Winner of that race basically nearly ran out of fuel because he had his fuel strategy figured out, pretty much at the checkered flag. So. All right, we thank you for tuning in tonight on Tuesday nights. We do this each and every Tuesday night. This is week 10 of our 12-week season with the Superspeedway Kings here at Talladega. Now, each week we do a different track. Next week we will be, I believe, at Daytona. But tonight we are here at Talladega.
Yep, Talladega is always a fun track, and it always proves to be an exciting one. And you're probably wondering, why is everybody on the inside lane? Well, it's because they came down pit road and topped off on fuel. So when you do that and it's one to go, you all line up in the bottom line. So that's going to be interesting to see how this plays out from a run perspective, because you may see some guys kind of lay off just a little bit to get some runs.
Yeah, with anything, especially at a super speedway, you can't do it by yourself. So what we saw is, when they were running out there for qualifying, they were around 55 seconds per lap. But here, when they were in a pack, they're running around 50.5, 50.2. So there's a huge difference between running by yourself and running in a pack.
Alrighty, Rick, it looks like pace car has dropped off. We're about to get that green flag again for the second time. Coming to lap 9 complete. It'll be 69 to go, and we are green flag racing. Bottom line stacks up, and there's a little bit move out. Everybody's kind of stacks up in the back. That's Sebastian Marin down there, all the way on the apron. Some not really.
Gavin back up. We'll go back to. Peek back here. There's already 3 wide here, and we have not completed the first restarted lap.
Yeah, I think that's just a matter of what we saw. The inside line was all stacked up with people and drivers looking to get back up to the front, and you saw that right there. And now we're going to go 3 wide again, potentially through the corners here. There's Sebastian Marin looking to make up all those spots he lost due to that last incident.
That's Dave Butler on the low side. The 14 of Guerrero's in the middle. As these guys are trying to work their way back up, there's just as many changes of position up at the front. The 274 of Al Cena is out in front. 25 on the outside of Kevin Freeze. Al has got the 510 of Richard Sanchez behind him. Kevin's got the 90 of Gary Jenkins behind him. The 19 of Workman, who we saw in that previous incident, is all better and now back on the outside.
They are, and you're seeing kind of 2 distinct packs forming right now. You have that second pack that's a little bit on back that is catching that first one, and those guys will be there in a matter of no time at all. As we start to see Sebastian Marin jump up to the high line right there, but now we're riding on board with your leader, Freeze there in the 25. Well, take that back. Freeze is right there. That was a 274 machine we were on board with.
You're correct.
Yep. And guess what, Rick? We're right back to where we started. 3 by 3.
At 14,
which is what we ultimately want to see.
And the 052 and the 88 is the outside line. We are 3 wide here at Talladega.
It's fun to watch. It is so fun to watch these guys 3 by 3 by 3, all holding their line. Especially this early on in the race. We're only a 7th of the way through this thing. And, we got the 25 machine of Freeze getting a little bit squirrely there. Rick, it looks like these trucks tonight are a little bit light on their feet. Yeah, a little bit lighter than normal.
So I know that when iRacing put through the last change, they made a lot of adjustments with aero. I'm not sure it's affected all of the cars and trucks in the package, but certainly I would not be surprised. Now this is an open setup, so these guys, I believe it's an open setup. Oh, a little bit of contact again with the 6. Cody cannot seem to catch a break there.
He can't. He's been the pinball of the race here tonight in that 6 machine. Hopefully he's able to stay out of trouble. There he is, all on the back doorstep of Guerrero. And yeah, I mean, here we go, riding on board with the 6, who is now dropping down. He was like, sorry guys, I'm not gonna be in this mess. I'm just gonna hold on and stick around in the back. And here he goes, merging back up. He was like, I'm out of here. I'll hang on and wait to the end to get back up to the front. I actually don't blame him. As much as he's been a pinball tonight, Rick, don't blame Mr. Nichols at all.
Nope, I think I would do exactly the same. It's with these kind of races, especially when you've got at least a pit stop at lap 27, 47, if all stays correct, and 67 before we get to the conclusion of this event. You have plenty of time to make changes and to change positions. Better be safe.
Plenty of time.
The 9 is just winking in and out. That's Charles Johnson there. Definitely some connection issues. If you see that on the track, you see that blinking car, you see that 9 that blinked in and out, you'll hear to us refer to that as a blinker. That really comes down to a internet connection with that driver and his connection to iRacing. So.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be an issue if that can't get fixed because of the fact of how sensitive these trucks are and how light on their feet they are tonight. So we'll see how he's able to battle that throughout the race. But as it stands right now, look who's back up to the front, getting help from the 25. That is the 23 of Sebastian Marin. He's going to lead this lap. Didn't take him long, Rick, to get back out to the point.
No, it sure did not.
See, look at that right there. That is atypical for me. From what I've seen and from what I've raced in these trucks, for them to get that light off their feet. It seems like they've definitely adjusted the aero packages on these trucks. There goes the 9 to the high side. I guess it's something with the downforce that is affecting these trucks.
It certainly has shown to be quite temperamental tonight. Well, if you're just tuning in, we thank you for tuning in to the IWF broadcast of the Super Speedway Kings. Tonight we bring you the event here at Talladega. So 2 and 3 wide racing here with these guys. Always a fun event. Saw some action in the back of the pack.
Yeah, it looks like the 9 dropped off a little bit, and he's going to get split 3 wide. Maybe not.
He's definitely moves to the back, though. It's probably good for the guys in the front. I think
Probably
that's the 60 of Brian Rainville. He's going to end up going a lap down. He pitted on the lap 12.
Yep, he's just going to drop right in there. Oh, there's a 23 down to block the low lane of Guerrero with the hard charge. Going into 1. So your top 5 as it stands, probably going to change before I finish talking, is Marin, Guerrero, Workman, Freese, and Jenkins. And there, see exactly what I meant. It changed right there. Those are your top 5. Top 10, pretty much locked into our screen, what you're seeing right there. Marin, Guerrero, Workman, Freese, Senna, Jenkins, Delavecchia, Laurie, Overstreet, and Butler. All battling for... Let's see... Man, that 23 is...
Yeah, it's like he caught the yellow line at where the apron meets the racing surface, and that really unsettled the car.
It did, and it's just a little abnormal to me to see that happening. There's the 14 dropping down in front of that 23 machine, and this is kind of what you see here at Super Speedways. Especially at Talladega, the outside gets such a run, and you just drop right in line. The outside gets a run, you drop right in line. So it's almost like they're playing musical chairs with some trucks. You know, the outside line gets a run, they switch, somebody else moves the outside line, he gets a run, moves down in front of the first place car, and they just do that lap over lap. So eventually you'll get out there as long as you have a big pusher behind you. But right now, as it stands, see, here we go. It's about to happen again. I bet that 14 drops down. If he can get a good enough push from the 25 going into turn 1, he's probably going to drop down in front of that 23 machine of Marin. We shall see.
Yeah, you just never know with these guys. It's like this all night, and all that matters is on lap 77. If you happen to be in the right space at the right time. Whoa! Turn.
Oh no, we got turned. That's the field. That is the big one. The big one has occurred again. Sebastian Marin involved in that as well as Guerrero. Guerrero got turned right into the 23 machine. Have to go back and take a look at that one.
Yeah, I think we actually
we got it in.
Got that live.
I don't know if any of the other broadcasts that you do, maybe with Jeff or anything, you catch those wrecks, but it's something about me and you in the booth. We always catch them right as we see them. Let's see what we got here, Rick.
All right, let's take a look at this and see what we see here. Oh, let's back that up just a little bit. Looks like the 14 got a little tap from the 25 as he exited turn. Let's see where we are here.
Turn two.
Turn 2.
I think it was just a bad push in the corner. You could see right there he wasn't lined up in the right way. There it is. He moved up the track, caught the left rear. Yep, you could see it right there. Hooks the 23.
And the 19, broadsides at 19. Let's try to grab onto another car and let this carnage continue. Oh, a big strike in the door by the 274 to the 23. Stacks him up. The 23 is flying through the air.
He became an airplane, Rick.
Yep, he sure did. So a lot of damage, a lot of wrecked cars. We'll see a number of these trucks back onto pit road for some repair. All right. So some early cautions here. Our second caution of the night here at Talladega has happened at the front of the pack. And unfortunately, when something happens at the front, everybody gets collected. And a number of these guys are coming down to make some repairs. Just see where their truck is.
Yep, and get some tires as well.
Cody Nagels is probably thinking, I am glad I moved to the back.
Really? He was up there in the front on the bottom lane. He would have gotten probably caught up in that where Workman was. So definitely some just tough racing right now. I mean, this is a little atypical, but it seems like what we've been saying, Rick, kind of two common themes. You can't really push in the corners, and these trucks are light on their feet. So we'll see how this affects the race as it goes on. But they only have one quick repair, Rick. A lot of those top runners, 2 quick repairs rather. So you may see some of these front runners starting to sweat a little bit if their quick repairs are starting to go. For example, that 23, he saved one early on, but had to use one right there. So he's one down.
Yeah, I'm curious about the 19, because he definitely did not use his quick repair. He was involved, but he had already used, I think, one in the previous incident at the first caution around lap 6 or 7.
Yeah, I'd be worried about the right side of that car, not really so much from a power perspective, but from a yaw perspective. Speaking about, is that truck going to be out of balance from rear suspension to the front suspension? I don't know. It's hard to tell right now, but we'll see what that truck is able to do there, because he got hit pretty hard by that 23 machine. So, or my bad, by that spinning car up there. I believe it was who was it? 25 that got, or the 14 rather.
I think it was a 25. It could have been.
Yeah, one of those two.
But definitely some major right side damage, I think. So.
Yeah, for sure. Early on, but we got 57 to go. Here he comes back down pit road. Some guys making their way back on, topping off on some fuel.
You can see a number of guys with damage on their vehicle back there. All right, we're watching these guys run through here. These are our second caution of the night. They are going back in and topping off for fuel. We'll head back up with the leaders. So Gary Jenkins, that's in that 90, is our control car. He will be in charge of this restart out there. He's got the 510 on the outside. That is Richard Sanchez. Behind the 90 is the 745 of Brian Broussard, and the 6 of Cody Nagels is on his outside.
It's going to be a fun restart because you saw the last time that these guys started basically in one lane. They're on the bottom side of the track. We'll see what happens this time around.
So here we are with 56 laps to go. 22 are in the books. Everybody has come down here at lap 20. So we should see if we can stay green. We'll see this next round somewhere about lap 42, 43 for the next round of green flag pit stops. So like I said earlier, but we were interrupted with that incident. We thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast of the Super Speedway Kings. And if you're watching on one of our streams, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, we ask that you like and follow, and tell a friend if you're an iRacer yourself. You like watching these streams, or you're just interested in racing and sim racing. Feel free to like and follow our broadcast. We have other events that we broadcast not only on Tuesday nights, but we'll be restarting our Wednesday night series, which is a next gen series, which is sponsored by Tech for Troops. And also we've got some special events, some 500-mile full race events coming up here in March and April.
Yes, we do. Here we go. About to get the green flag again, Rick.
90's in the green start, the restart zone, and here we go. We are back underway here.
Let's see what happens a little bit further on back. This is where, the 90, big checkup there on the bottom lane. Maybe he missed a gear. Yeah, he definitely did not get that car underneath him at all going into turn one. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow everybody on that high side to get around him. There's a 19 dropping down to the low lane, 88's all the way up to the top. And for a few laps, they're going to be all separated, but I can guarantee you by lap 26, we're going to see 3x3x3 again.
Well, here we are on the restart. Definitely a little shake-up as the 510 of Richard Sanchez moves out front. He's got the 6 of Cody Nagels behind him, and the 14 of Vincent Guerrero is out there in third. 19 of Workman is flirting with that outside line, looking for some help, and the 6 comes out and helps him and leads that outside line, getting a good bit of draft and push from that 19.
Yep, and this is where I got to say you need to be a little bit careful pushing in these trucks in the corners. Got the high line already formed. Well, Rick, my prediction was wrong. I said lap 26. They were like, oh, no, let's just wait till lap 24. Let's do it 2 laps sooner. So here we go. Just pushing in the corners is going to be one of the biggest things here. There's a 274 dropping down to the middle lane. And now we're 3x3x3 again, going into 3 and coming out of 4. Let's see what happens now. We've had 2 incidents so far, or technically 3, I guess. We'll see if that trend holds true as these drivers make their way down into turn 1. Marin, Senna, and Sanchez.
60 of Brian Rainbow must have got his lap back. He sure did. With that caution, and now Brian Rainbow went from being a lap down of sitting in the 7th spot. He is the 2nd car in that outside lane behind the 23 of Marin.
He is, and look at the front end of that 6 machine. It looks like just it's completely flat. So gonna have to pay attention to how he's able to stay out front if he can, due to that front end having a little bit of aero damage on that number 6 machine. It's not preventing him. It's actually probably helping him push. I mean, let's think about that. If your front end looks, like a pancake, it's gonna match up with the back of those bumpers fairly well. So he could be.
Unless you're now out front all by yourself, like you are now.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get big enough push from that 25 machine It looks like he will. He drops down. There we go. Exactly what I was talking about. Musical chairs. Well, these are musical trucks. Thing in the tune of 185 miles an hour down the backstretch and wanted to be out in the lead. We got a lap car up here coming up. Looks like everybody's going to drop down, probably go 2x2. Oh, then the lap car drops down to the bottom line.
11, dropping down to that low line.
What an awesome shot right there coming through.
And that's one of the things that we definitely see here with this group of drivers, just the racecraft and the sportsmanship. You know, and very often if this was a regular event in a session with iRacing, having someone say, oh, you know what, I'm going to move out of the way, that's not
No, not at all. Sometimes it happens, but not all the time. But like in these leagues, Rick, like you were mentioning before, it's definitely common, should be commonplace to do what just happened right there, either move completely out of the way or drop off the track. As it goes, 27 coming to 28 complete here, and that 25 is back out front. But don't count out that 6 machine. He's right there, right behind.
You got Charles Johnson on the outside. That 9 car has returned. I'm sorry, the 90 car of Gary Jenkins with the 9 car of Johnson behind him. The 23 of Marin and the 60 of Brian Rainville are all on that outside. My guess is that 90 is going to drop down when he gets a chance. That's just what we've seen so far with But our current top 10 threes: Jenkins, Johnson, Nagels, Marin, Senna, Rainville, Sanchez, Guerrero, and Overstreet. I'd call it the positions, but it would just change.
It would. You know, it's just think of them all as like a big blob, and that blob can shift and move in however many positions you want.
90 move up to the 3rd lane and basically say, okay, I'm going to run a little bit in the back for a while.
Not a bad move. I would say, you know, at this point, you know, with what we've seen out front, it's been pretty dangerous, to say the least. So I would think that's a good move, kind of like what the 6 of Nichols did earlier on in the race, just dropping off and just letting everything happen. As you can see, the longest line of cars there on the bottom lane, they're all just waiting. Everybody's single file, except for the outside line of 3 cars there. Now 4 cars. Everybody seems to kind of be minding their P's and Q's right now. 30 laps in, rather.
So that's the 23 of Sebastian Marin and Brian Rainville.
Another good shot of them coming down the backstretch.
Now, I tell you, that 9 car, I'm hoping he does not have a challenge for at 25 behind. The last thing you want to be doing is pushing a car that is disappearing and reappearing in front of you.
For sure. It's definitely nerve-wracking because you never know when that's going to happen. I mean, you could be mid-push. Next thing you know, the 9 car blinks. As you see, okay. I guess he's just dropping off.
25 dropped out.
He's keeping speed, though.
Yeah, he may have just decided he did not want to go behind the car.
He heard us. He was listening and he heard us. He was like, yeah, that's probably a good call.
Yep, absolutely. So Sebastian Marin takes over the lead on that low side. He's got a 9 behind him. Brian Rainville in the 60. He's got the 274 behind him. On that outside line. He's got the 14 behind. Is that the 14 behind him? I can't tell.
I believe that is the, if I'm not mistaken, is that the 46?
David Overstreet. That would make sense.
I believe so. as we're now starting to see the pack form up just a little bit more.
That is the 46. You are correct.
And there's a 9 out to the high side. He's like, hey, I want to lead this thing again. So we'll see what he's able to do. Going to have some big pushes getting started from the 6 and the 60. Like we said before, that 6 car probably is one of the best pushers out there, simply because of not just the fact that he's a good driver, but the fact that his front end got flattened. So it lines up better with the rear bumper as he wants to jump out to the lead. Musical trucks throughout the entire field right now.
All right, lap 32 is in the books. Lap 33 now here. We're at Talladega. We are 3 wide.
Not clear.
Contact. The 88 had some contact with the 6. That poor 6 has gotten his share of incidents.
He has, and that was a good thing that 88 did not move down to the middle lane, because you would have seen the third big one of the night. He was not clear at all. So we'll see how this plans out and how this spans out. 33 of 1, 77 complete here, coming to 34. Pit stops coming here in a little bit.
Yeah, and you'll see the field begin to kind of break out of this 3 wide racing here as they anticipate those pit stops and kind of work their way down, because you just can't pit from that third lane.
You can't do it. So we'll see what happens as this race goes on. Right now, and it's going to change here probably pretty soon. Sebastian Marin up there at the point with the 6 in the middle lane and the 88 in the high lane. I believe that's the 88. Is it a different number? It's the 88 of Sanchez.
No, Sanchez is the 510 is the yellow car. The 88 is Gabe Butler.
Gabe Butler. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we're wrecking, Rick. We are wrecking. Well, I think we caught another one.
We saw it. We may have missed the... so we'll go back and figure out where exactly that was. Yep, so is Brian Rainville. That got hooked. Just kind of back that up a little bit. All right, we're watching the 60 truck of Brian Rainville. He's right there in the middle. You can see him straddling that center line and marker. He's down a little bit. That 9 truck comes up in front of him. Looks like both the 88 and the 60 come down into the same spot. The 60 is the, unfortunately, gets kind of really trashed in that event. Let's go back, get a better shot with Guerrero. Did a lot of damage here. That 90 truck ends up hitting the tail end of the 88. And the 071 involved, and now the rest of the field is kind of making their way through the carnage of our third caution of the night.
Yep, and you know, that 14, he's going to need a quick repair after that one. That was pretty rough there, so expect everybody to come down pit road with 42 to go. See everybody making some stops.
All right, that's our third caution of the night. 42 laps to go, 36 in the books. And we've got a lot of damaged race cars. I'm not sure just exactly who has used their fast repair. You just saw the 90 use his. The 60 did not. I'm sorry, the 6 did not. I still see the same nose on his. And you know, we were approaching a scheduled green flag stop anyways, but this pitting on lap 36 changes all of the calculations.
It does, and it's going to change the strategy. You know, I mean, from the start of the race, we saw just a wide array of changes and things that have happened in this race that's going to change the strategy. So with 41 to go, what do? You can't make it all the way. Do you split it half and half? Do you do 75-25? So pit, 30 laps in.
I don't think you have
I guess
a choice
you can't go 30
here.
laps, rather.
No, you've only got 20 laps, so this is kind of like, okay, if we stay green, I've got to make it to lap 50, 57, 58, so I can have just, and that's why you'll see a number of guys come back in again, hoping that if this does stay green, they're trying to get as many laps in here, so at their last, potentially their last stop, they don't have to stop again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who does what here tonight. Once we do get, really, it'll be 39 to go when we go green flag racing.
So expect to see the bulk of the field come down pit road one more time and top off on fuel.
There they go.
Not
on
everybody.
cue, Rick.
So you got Gary Jenkins, Sebastian Marin, Kevin Fries, Joe Della Vecchia, Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels. About half the field, Vincent Guerrero, Brian Rainville, Eric Laurie, Zach Workman. Pretty much half the field came down. Notables that stayed out was the 5'10" of Richard Sanchez, Charles Johnson, Cody Nagels, David Overstreet, Brian Broussard, Brian Kimbler, Gary Jenkins. He came down. So
differentiating strategies there. Also, I just noticed on the front of that 46 car, I see an IWM Broadcast Network logo. So shout out to Mr. Overstreet there for running the IWM Broadcast logo. Love seeing that.
There we go. We'll definitely make it. Hopefully we see him in the top 3. We can ask him about that. That's pretty cool.
We sure can. We sure can.
Okay, so the lights are off on top of our pace truck. That means one thing, that once we come off the backstretch here, that field will form up and we'll be back to green flag racing with 40 laps to go, 39 at the stripe, and we'll get this back underway. About the halfway point in tonight's event, our third caution of the night just occurred. Pretty big event. But my guess is there's a number of drivers, I don't have any details on this, but a number of drivers who could be out of quick repairs.
There very well could be. So we may see some big names dropping out here as this race goes on. We shall see as pace car.
If there's another caution.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the 5'10" of Richard Sanchez is in control and entering the Geico restart zone. He is there to lead this and restart this event. Green flag has
Here
dropped.
we go. Green flag racing here again at Talladega. You know, it doesn't take long. These guys want to show this action here. They want to be a part of it. They want to put on a good show, and they always do here in the Super Speedway Kings. And you know what I'm seeing, Rick?
The
truck squirrely. He's gonna pull a pass in the grass like Dale Sr. There comes a lawnmower, and he's back out on the track. Unfortunately, that's gonna put him off pace and probably out of the draft.
Let's go back and take a look at what happened to Richard Sanchez. Here we go. He's got the 6 of Cody Nagels behind him. We'll run this. Tap from behind. Oh, just a little touch by the 6 car of Nagels. He goes onto it. While the guys had bailed out.
What a save, though. I mean, just masterful. That grass can be your enemy sometimes, but also it could be your best friend.
There are some tracks that you cannot do that in. If you're going to go across the front stretch grass, somewhere about the halfway point, you will pick up a ditch or a bump, and you will wind up airborne.
Oh, yeah, we saw that with Joey Logano. I believe was it at Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, where he caught the infield and basically jumped over the paved portion of the track. So we'll definitely see that at other tracks, or depending on where you hit that grass. But as it stands right now, Sebastian Marin back out front.
We just saw that 9 disappear and reappear. That certainly is disconcerting for that 46 truck behind him. We've seen instances in our iRacing career where that car or truck will blink out, disappear, and then reappear in a completely different spot on the track.
You know, luckily, it's very sparse for the 9 machine, but sometimes it's a little bit more relevant. And there he goes. He's going to drop off, I think. And the same thing that he did a little bit earlier in the race, trying to just fix that and not be out in the middle of things. But as it stands, that's going to put Delavecchia out front of the 052 with the 25 of Freese behind him, Marin there, 745, as well as the 60 up in the top 5.
And there was some action going on with the 745. I thought he was about to get turned, but he collected back up, and definitely some change of positions. That's the 5. That's the 052 of Delavecchia, all the way up to the high line, and is kind of working his way back a bit. Yeah, this will be pretty spicy.
It is, to say the least. You have some guys that want to be there, and you have some guys that don't. And you've seen once they get to the front and possibly lead a lap, they're like, "See you guys. I'm going to wait till the end of the race."
Well, I think
to be back up here.
You know, there's 35 laps to go. There's a lot of racing left. You just don't want to get taken out, especially if you've got no more backup. There's got to be a little bit of conservativeness to your driving.
There definitely does, and as it should. You know, there's going to be drivers that want to stay out front. There's going to be drivers that want to stay in the back, and with the way this race is going, I think a conservative approach may be the best, as we see another driver dropping out there up on the high line.
That's the 071 of moves up to the high line and works his way back. He'll try to bring up that track map. Oh, a number of drivers have worked their way
coming
down.
up that road.
That's Zachary Workman and Gabe Butler on pit road. Let's get a look at that. So a couple of drivers are broken off in the new back. That's the 171 of Robert Rock. Back in where Robert is. Hubbard's back there. He's got some buddies back there in the 45 and the 111 with Eric Fielder. Then further back, you've got the group with Vincent Guerrero, the 510 and the 6. Also there now. So you can really get it done. You can work your way back up.
Oh, you sure can. You sure can. And we'll see how that plays out a little bit later on in the race. But we may see as this race goes on them making their way back up to the front.
So here we are with 32 laps to go. We saw some early takers on pit road. Guys came down around lap. Yes, that was lap 42.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, they were not able to lose any time. I think that was Zachary Workman who came last at the tail end. I think he's running by himself. Let's go back and look. All right, he's got the 88 of Gabe Butler with him, so that's going to help. But they've got that pack closing in on them.
Yeah, they better kind of pick it up or have somebody else drop back. Well, I guess nobody's really around them if you take a look at the track map outside of the pack. So they're going to be losing some serious time over the next 5 or 10 laps. If they lose, a couple tenths every single lap, it's going to matter. They've lost already 2 seconds on this last lap just by that field running, 10, 15 cars up there. So could this be a move that kind of bites them a little bit? I think it could, because they're going to be losing so much time on the back end of the stint.
So just our telemetry shows us that last lap by Zachary Workman was a 52.58, and that last lap by Sebastian Marin was a 50.94, so nearly a second and a half difference per lap.
Yep.
And if you look at the gap, it's pretty significant.
It is, and it's going to be close. I mean, I can understand it a little bit from.
I'm curious as to the pit strategy.
Yeah, I'm trying to play this out in my head because they wouldn't come out in front of the leaders per this strategy by short pitting the field, even on the back end of a run, because they keep on they're losing so much time that it's going to basically offset. So once these leaders go down pit road and make their way back, that 19 is not going to be out in front of those guys. So we'll see how this plays out.
Right now, if we were to jump in, shot from Sebastian. So this is in-car, in-truck shot from Sebastian Marin. He can see after coming up turn 4 that the 19 of Workman. Triumphal, so what about now? But you can see them entering into turn 1, which we can see them there. So that time is leading between leaders and the 19 of Workman.
It is. We'll see how this plays out. Maybe they know something that we don't know, but unless they start picking up this pace, that backpack is going to kind of eat them up as time goes on.
Do you see that pack of 14 Guerrero, Sanchez, and Nagels, I believe they are catching that Robert Rock. So that will help. That'll become a force to be reckoned with.
It sure will. But as it stands right now, Rick, it's still. I understand the short pit, but on this stint right here, you're going to be losing so much time to them. It's risky. It's a risky move.
Well, with 27 laps to go, that means that we should don't see them coming down onto pit road in about 7 laps. I guess the question is, can you dog paddle for 7 more laps and stay ahead of these leaders?
I don't know. What's the current gap right now? Could we bring that up? Let's see, 46 seconds. So they're losing about 1.5 seconds a lap. Oh gosh, it's going to be close. I mean, I think they're going to get past probably around lap 24, I would guess. Or my bad, with 24 to go. So we'll see how this plays out, but they can't stay out front for too much longer in front of these guys. It's going to happen.
So with the math, you kind of have to work backwards. If you're 47 seconds behind the leader, in effect, with the leader doing a 51.32, you have to kind of do a little bit of math here. Really only about 3 seconds ahead of the leaders.
You are. We'll see how this plays out, but it's about lap 25. I was predicting lap 24. That gap is getting ever so close.
So Sebastian Marin in the 23, and Kevin Fries in the 25 continues to show us the way, followed by David Overstreet in the 46, Brian Rainville in the 60, which is a great showing for Brian here as well. The 90 of Jenkins in 5th, Johnson in 6th, Broussard in 7th, Wilkinson in 8th, Dellavecchia in 9th, and Kimbler in 10th. Jump back to Robert Rock in the 171. You can see that pack is slowly catching him. That's Richard Sanchez back here. That 3-pack, they're trying to work their way back up. They definitely need to catch that other group of 3.
They do, and they're getting there. So we'll see how that plays out. But look, here we go, Rick. We saw it. Lap 24. I was right on the dot. They caught him. So we'll see what this outside pack can do. We're wrecking, maybe.
He held it.
Well, that changes up some things.
It would.
So we'll see what happens now, since the guys that are up front are now, battling with the guys that don't want to go a lap down. And it does take a while to get down pit road and to get off pit road, Rick. Do we have that data available to us? Do we know how long it takes to make it down, stop, and get back off pit road?
So with depends. So with a normal, just fuel only, about 32 seconds. But if you're going down, 4 tire change, it's closer to 45 seconds.
So I think it'll be closer to that 32-second mark, which is going to be plenty of time for the leaders to make out in front of that 19 car and the 88 as well as the 20. Oh, wow!
One.
Well,
that changes everything.
Never mind.
Yellow has not come out.
Well,
That was
never
Zach
mind.
Workman that got turned. There's the yellow. That changes a lot.
That does. I'm curious to see where that 19 was, because he spun off the track.
He was he was a lap down, or he was the tail end of the lead lap.
Right, and it should. I'm curious if he came back up the track, because that shouldn't have brought out a caution. Because since he was down low on the apron, it only really brings out a caution if you're spinning up onto the surface. So I'm curious to what happened to the 19 after he got spun. I mean, pretty clear 23 was pushing him. Got him in the left rear, hooked him. Hit him right there. Stopped. Interesting.
All right. So our fourth caution of the night, with just 22 laps to go, which means once everybody comes on pit road, that will be the last official stop of the night.
It will.
Well, that was not good for the 19F Workman. Unfortunately, he got a little bit of a tap. And again, I think it's these trucks. I think there's been some changes to the aero and how these trucks connect to each other, because I don't think you typically would get hooked with something as simple as that.
You wouldn't. And, you know, the thing is, we've seen this throughout the entire night. And I even mentioned it before really all the carnage happened. It seems like the trucks are just light on their feet. And, I mean, when was the last time I drove trucks? I'd have to remember. I don't remember it ever being that sensitive, you know, so we'll see how this plays out. But what this does is this poses the question, where do you want to be coming out of turn 4? Do you want to be
awful fast coming off of pit road?
That was yeah, looked like he was shot out of a rocket. Yeah. Do you want to be the car being pushed, or do you want the car, or do you want to be the pusher? You know, that raises that big question, and I don't know the answer to that right now, because it's a tale of two stories. Because if you're the car out front and you try to block, you may get spun. If you're the car that's pushing, you know what you can do to say, oh, I was just trying to push you to the win if the guy in front of you spins off your bumper. So what do you do? I mean, you're kind of in a catch-22 situation, you know. It's very interesting play here, because you know these guys are going to push their hearts out. That's just how these guys are. And who knows? Well, there's 23. He's on the bottom side. I don't know what you do in this situation, Rick. I don't know where I'd want to be.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me knowing Sebastian Mirren if he actually asked for an adjustment to his starting position. Well, here we are, lap 21. We'll probably take the green at back up to the front with Brian Rainville. If you see that pace truck, yellow is that the lights are still on, so probably lap 19 we'll go back to green flag racing as this field begins to form back up. Lots of contact.
There has been all night.
Zachary Workman is the he's the first truck a lap down now. Interesting, Wilkinson, Della Vecchia, Fries, Broussard, Kimber, Laurie, and Rock, pretty much half the field, more than half the field, have come back down to top off fuel.
And I'm noticing something, Rick. By Rainville, it says pit. Does that mean he has a penalty?
No.
Of some sort?
No, that's just the scoring tower catching up with action on the track.
Okay, because I was just looking like he did. I think I see the 60 on the track. I don't remember him ever going down pit road, unless I'm watching a different stream. But yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, he did come down on lap 56.
Got it.
So he's good. So a number of guys came down here on lap 57. They're anticipating, because I think it's going to be pretty close. If you came down now and there happened to be a green-white checker, you may be a little close on fuel.
Oh, yes, these guys are going to be very, very, very close. And that's why with track position as it is here at Talladega, there's no reason why you shouldn't just have come down pit road that last time, because you're going to top off on some fuel. So, and you're going to be able to make it to the end. So we'll see how that UPS truck's, fends for himself out there, bringing home a package, the win possibly. We'll see.
You've got the 46 on the outside. He also elected not to come in, as did Gary Jenkins, Richard Sanchez, Cody Nagels. Cody Nagels looks like he did get the front of that truck repaired. And Vincent Guerrero, those guys chose to stay out and not come back in and top off. along with the guys who were lapped down, Workman, Johnson, Butler, and Senna, they stayed out.
I mean, you might as well come down pit road, Rick. I don't know why you wouldn't. You know, I mean, you should have done it. I feel like unless you're confident that you have enough fuel, and I'm not confident in some of those guys out front. We'll see what they do as the race goes on. Maybe there's something that we don't know. Maybe they think another caution is going to come out. Maybe they will be the caution. I don't know. But pace truck is down on pit road, about to enter the Geico restart zone again.
Brian Rainville, air control truck.
Talladega. Rainville in the bottom lane. What are they going to do? Green flag is out. 19 laps to go when they hit the line.
Moves down, the 46 and the 510 and the 6 stay high. Rainville, Johnson, Overstreet, and the 25, I think, of Kevin Freeze dominate that low line. The center line is already out. That's the 46.
We'll see who makes their way to the front out of turn 4. 3 lines kind of happening right now. The middle, the high, and the bottom, of course. 18 to go. This time by, and that UPS machine still out front of the 60 of Rainville.
2 solid lines here with 18 laps to go. 6 is leading the outside line with the 052 of Joe Della Vecchia behind him. Looks like a third lane is trying to start up there. That's the 052 of Della Vecchia, the 19 of Workman on that outside line, and the 071 of Eric Rory. Now Zachary Workman, that 19 is a lap down. His goal is to stay ahead of the 88 of Butler.
It is. We'll see how this plays out. Packed crowd here at Talladega. There he goes to the middle lane.
Definitely a lot of movement amongst these drivers. Cars, as they're exiting 2 and 4, are very squirrely. You saw that again right there.
Oh, hold on to it, buddy. Hold on. Jeez. Talk about loose.
We're going to hide our scoring tower for a bit to get a better shot. We had super that 16. Not only him, you can see it amongst everybody. Contact with the 19, and I believe the 46. 60 moves up to lead that center lane. He's hoping for a pretty big push with that 052 of Della Vecchia. $16 laps here to go at Talladega.
16 to go, and the action's heating up more and more every single lap, Rick.
Pretty wide. Nagels, Rainville, Jenkins, Della Vecchia, Guerrero, Freeze, Overstreet, Aaron and Rory and Sanchez. That is your top 10, and they are right there in front of you. They are stacked up 3 by 3 by 3.
They are, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens as this race winds down.
We've already seen it be pretty spicy up here at the front, not only with the squirreliness of the truck itself, but certainly with track and position. So stay tuned. If you're watching, we appreciate you tuning in. 15 laps to go. There's a lot of action yet to come.
Yeah, don't miss a beat. Don't turn off the screen. Don't go away. because the action's going to start heating up even more as the 4 wide. Oh, that was close, Rick. I thought that 052 was going to split, I guess, the second lane, technically. Not split in the middle because it's 4 wide. There's a 25.
25
yep,
drop down, 19 drop down, 23 leads the outside line.
Well, we see that 23.
6 is now in front of that low line ahead of the 90.
We'll see how long he can stay out front. Oh, he has his car fixed. I totally forgot about that part. We'll see if the 23 makes a move down to the middle lane. I suppose he will. There he goes. He is not clear of the bottom lane just yet. Coming to 13 to go this time by. $13 laps to go here tonight in the Superspeedway King Truck Series at Talladega. And they are playing musical trucks. Who wants to be out front? What lap? The 25 and the 23 have been in command for the majority of this race, followed by the 6 and the 19 back up there in the mix.
Familiar names all night here up at the front.
Yep, 19 just trying to stay out there and get his lap back. Unfortunately, unless there's a caution, don't know if he's going to be able to do that, but we will see as this race progresses.
Oh, 60 moves up to the outside lane. Hoping for some help up there with less than 5'10" of Richard Sanchez. Got the 052 just beneath him. That is Joe Della Vecchia. Oh, in the wall. In the wall.
Wrecking. Yep, there we go. Caution not out. Nothing out yet. No caution. No caution.
Sanchez,
no caution.
Over a street.
There it
flag is out. There we go.
I was about to say, Rick. We had cars spinning everywhere. I was like, who's gonna bring her? What caution's gonna happen? Because I mean, that was pretty shocking. If that did not happen.
So here we are with 11 laps to go. Incident on the, let's double check where that occurred.
60 up in a high lane. Probably got a bump from the behind, is what I'm guessing.
Trying to back that up a little bit. I think it's going to be exactly what we've seen all night long. What would be a normal push or bump kind of really upsets these drivers.
It is. It's really when they just get offset. That's the biggest issue that we see. And you see everybody along for the ride. And the 60's like, oh, yeah, I tagged the wall, but I'm still going. I'm still going up here. Something we've seen all race long is when you're not lined up perfectly to the back bumper of the car in front of you and you give that bumper a push, it's not good for anybody. And hard contact for the 510. Or did he avoid the wall? Let's wait. Let's play this out a little bit. Tough break for David Overstreet there.
14, the 46, the 510, and the 90 all involved.
Was able to back out of it. Oh, he tagged the wall. Thought he was going to be able to miss it.
Caught both the front and the back. So that being said, we are live here back, and about half the field has decided to come down onto pit road.
As one should.
My guess is required. I did see that I think Brian Rainville did retire.
Well, it's unfortunate for that machine. He was running really strong up there, had some early troubles, but unfortunate for the 60.
All right, Cody Nagels is shown as our leader. He pitted last on lap 56. He is potentially playing the fuel strategy game.
It's definitely an interesting game to play. I mean, I would come down and top off with the way that the races have been going so far. Might as well, why not?
Well, the lights are still on that top of the pit, our pace truck, with 10 laps to go here with the Superspeedway Kings at Talladega. Cody Nagels leads us back to the green flag around lap probably 8. We get back to green.
Yeah, it should be, I believe you're correct. It'll be 8 to go.
All right, number of trucks came down pit road to top off fuel. We saw Della Vecchia, Freeze, Marin, Sanchez, Fielder. I just don't know if the 6 of, well, of course you have to give up that position. If that's worth it with 10 laps to go, but well, we've seen a number of, this is our 5th caution of the night. This caution probably was a determining factor for him if he had enough fuel to make it.
Sure, it definitely was. And, you could very much save. But, with the way that these guys race, I don't even think if it's even worth it to try and, if you're close, come down and get topped off on fuel so you don't have to worry about it, so you could push. Because the more you're out front, the more fuel you're going to use. And the more you have to worry about that, just for peace of mind and sanity, I'd want to just come down pit road, get all the gas I can, because you could win from, 15th on back. Doesn't matter. It's Talladega. Anything can happen. You could be the 5th car in line on the high side, and you could win a race because the top 14 cars right in front of you. I mean, it's Talladega. Anything can happen. So we'll see what happens.
All right, so we are about to go back to green flag racing. Lights are off on top of our pace truck. Cody Nagels will show us the way. He is right now hugging that yellow line, doing everything he can to save fuel. We don't have a picture into Cody's fuel gauge, but my guess it's going to be just about empty by the time he crosses that straight.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. We'll see what happens. And it's Talladega. I mean, I'm looking back here. I'm looking at some guys that have been up in the front. I'm looking at Della Vecchia. If we could call our shots right now about who could potentially win, I'm going to go with that 052 machine. I feel like he could potentially bring it out, to the front and get himself back up into at least a podium. Rick, I don't know who you have on your radar, but I'm looking at that 052.
So as you said before, anything happens here at Talladega. So we'll see what happens in 8 laps as we watch the pace truck drop off the racing surface. And now it's in the hands of Cody Nagels to restart these guys.
It is. Rick, it's about to get wild. Folks, if you're watching at home, make sure to turn your volume up and get as close as you can to that screen because it's about to get crazy. Geico Restart Zone, they have entered, and we are green flag racing. 8 laps to go at Talladega. Who's going to bring it home? Well, that didn't take long to go 3 wide, did it?
Nope. Oh, already wrecking. There's the 510 spinning.
No caution. Caution should not be thrown for that. He's down on the apron.
He's getting it back underway, back on the racing surface.
Yep, no caution. No caution. coming to 7 to go this time by.
It's the 510 of Richard Sanchez, way off the pace.
I wonder if it was a product of the pushing, Rick. I really don't know. I mean, he definitely got hooked in some capacity. Obviously not intentional by any means. It's just the nature of what we've seen tonight with these trucks. They're light on their feet.
Tight racing here at Talladega. 3 wide. Outside line with Marin, the 19 of Workman. Workman got his lap back, and now he's showing in 12th.
Can Workman work his... Whoa! Close racing. 25. 052. Can he work his way back up to the front and bring home a win?
That's the 071 of Eric Laurie that's running out front there in the middle line. That low line continues to have the 6 of Cody Nagels with the 55 of Wilkinson behind him. That outside line's the 52, the 23, and the 19. They're trying to make their way back up. They've got a good run into the backstretch off of 2. Oh, a little bit wiggly with that 14 in the center. Pushed the 55. 55 dropped out and said, whoa, this is a little spicy for me, and gave him some room.
That is definitely the word of the night, spicy. It has been. Trucks moving all sorts of ways, middle to high, high to low, front to back, back to front. As we come to 5 to go, no one is going to be lifting, and look who's out front again. That 23 of Sebastian Marin.
Sebastian dropped to the middle line, but that leaves a 19 on the outside with the 25 of Kevin Freeze. Big push on the outside, 46.
Hold her steady. Hold her steady.
.071 drops in front of the 6. Now the .071 is leading that low line. 23 of Marin is in leader of the second with the .052. Behind him, that is Joe Della Vecchia.
Yep, I was saying watch out for that .052 machine. See what he's able to do. Coming now, going to be 4 to go at the line. 3 by 3 by 3. Laurie, Marin, Workman, bottom to high side. Nagels, Della Vecchia, and Freese. Who's going to bring it home?
Coming through the front stretch. Oh, the
25
drops all the way down. 19 drops as well.
That leaves the 25 of Freese and the 46 up in the top lane all by themselves. There goes 071 to the middle lane, challenging that 23 Marin for the lead. 3 laps to go here at Talladega.
25 of Freeze on the outside. Got a big push from the 46 behind him. 071's up front with the 19 of Workman with a big push. 6 has got a push on the 23 on that low line.
Let's keep in mind what's...
Go ahead.
Yep, let's keep in mind what's at stake here. We have the 23 of Marin going for his 3rd win on the season. Can he bring it home? You have the 071 of Laurie. He's looking for his 1st win on the season. And the high side, you have Freese, also looking for his 1st win of the season. Coming to 2 to go. Lap car ahead. Who's going to bring it home?
That's the 510 of Richard Sanchez. He got spun in that earlier incident, brought out with no caution was brought out. The 6 of Nagels jumps up, takes over that center line, the 510.
He's going to get a big push.
Sportsmanship. He drops out of the racing surface, does not want to be part of that drama.
And Nagel's to the point. He knows how to win. Here, he has 1 win on the season. Currently.
Oh, contact.
Oh, hold it. Yep, we're staying green.
14 came down and scored the 111.
Here we go. When they hit that line, next flag ends the race.
Final
White
lap.
flag.
Final lap here at Talladega.
Who's going to bring it home? If Nagels wins this, he is going to seal himself a better position in the playoffs. Could potentially move him up to second, as we are going to possibly see. Oh, he got spun. Stowe 71 got spun. 4 wide for the lead.
They're spinning again, taking out the 6.
And we're wrecking some more.
We're staying
the 23.
With the leaders. We'll go back and look.
Can Workman get his 3rd win on the season? He has help behind him from the 052. The 23 is going to draft him. It's a drag race. 25 of Freese. 19 of Workman to the line. Who is it going to be? I believe it's going to be Freese.
25. Workman, I think, will wind up with P2. Wow, that is not the way I expected this. We need to go back and look while we've got some time.
To say the least.
Let's find Cody Nagels.
What a wild finish to this race, Rick.
Yep, so that's where the 510, I believe, gets spun. Okay, we're picking our way up through. There's just so much to cover here.
There is. I mean, what a last lap, really.
Let's back that up a bit. So this is Eric Laurie and is getting spun. That's the 071. We'll go back up with, I'm not sure exactly why that happened, but take another look at that real quick. It looks like it's just that same thing. If you're not catching, well, he kind of got tagged and then spun around the 6. All right, so the 6 dropped, survived that wreck. Then there's an open, the 55 and the 90 come up. Tight squeeze for the 55. And unfortunately, that turn collects the 90 and the 55 and the 6 there. We'll stay with the 6 here. And we'll look for the 52 of Della Vecchia. All right.
What a last few laps there, Rick.
Okay. Wild finish here with the Superspeedway Kings Truck Series here at Talladega. Let's see if we can get the official results. All right. So there we go. Kevin Freeze is your winner. Zachary Workman is in second. David Overstreet finishes in third. We'll get a chance to talk to him about his logo. Joe Delavecchia finishes in fourth. Sebastian Marin fifth. Brian Broussard in sixth. Cody Nichols in seventh. Edward Fielder in eighth. Dean Wilkinson finishes in ninth, and Robert Rock finishes in 10th. Vincent Guerrero is in 11th. Brian Kimball in 12th. Gary Jenkins in 13th. Eric Laurie in 14th. Todd Siebels in 15th. Richard Sanchez finishes in 16th. Gabe Butler in 17th. Brian Rainville finishes in 18th. Charles Johnson in 19th, Alcina in 20th, and John Ward in 21st. Okay, so interesting race here at Talladega with these guys. It's been always fun to cover them. Hoping to get some folks in the broadcast booth. I'm looking for David Overstreet now.
Let's do it.
David, welcome to the broadcast booth, and congratulations on your P3 finish.
Hey, thank you guys. That was an awesome race.
It was a wild one, certainly towards the end there.
Yeah, I got to the place where I just had to push somebody to win because nobody was pushing me. So I just got committed to Kevin on the outside, and I think Workman had a little damage on the bottom, so they was getting a little held up there. So we got all the momentum on the top, and I was able to push him to the win.
So we were admiring your logo across the nose of your truck.
Yeah. Figured I'd get some
pretty
TV
familiar.
time putting that on there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I called it out and I was like, oh, that looks a little familiar on the nose. So awesome. But I'm curious. We noticed that these trucks, and I noticed this early on, that it seemed like these trucks were a little bit more loose, especially in the draft and when somebody's pushing than normal. Is that something that you would say is true tonight?
I think a couple incidents at night where people had damage pushing, and that was what was causing that. But my truck was actually tight, but I'm using like a 2-year-old setup, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, we definitely saw that there was a bit more, unless you were perfectly lined up with these trucks, that if you were off center just a bit, you could easily spin the guy in front.
Yeah, I saw Cody did it. I think I spun Sanchez out there with like 5 to go, so I don't know what, it must probably just be an iRacing glitch or something.
Yeah, we're not sure just exactly what it was, but it may have been this latest update. You just never know. But hey, congratulations on your P3 finish. Any shout outs tonight?
Yeah, thanks to Kevin and Gabe for continuing the league, and thanks for y'all broadcasting, and thanks for TW guys for letting me race with them tonight. It's only my second race this season, but I'll be back next week.
Sounds great. We look forward to seeing you. All right, that's David Overstreet. David finished in our third place finish tonight here at Talladega. All right, let's see if Zachary Workman is available. Let's see if we can bring Zachary into the booth. Hey, Zachary, congratulations on your P2 finish tonight.
Yeah, I don't know how we did that, to be honest. Our truck was damaged as all hell.
Yeah, I mean, you get the hard charger award. I mean, you were down a lap. You know, you were doing your best to dog pedal to avoid getting lapped. You got lapped. You got unlapped. You came back. And you were one of the two guys, yourself and Nagels, who pitted last on lap 56. So we were certainly gambling a bit. Of course, that late caution came out. That I'm sure that helped you.
Yeah, it did help a bit. I think if we would have ran the full way, we would have been fine. But yeah, I don't know how my truck kept up there. I gotta give a big shout out to Kevin for pushing that brick up there. When I hit the wall, it only gave me 25 seconds, and I was like, there's no way this is only 25 seconds. And it felt like a lot more But yeah, somehow we got second. I really have no idea.
Well, there was that last lap or so there was little incidents and skirmishes happening all around. It was just pretty wild. We did notice, and of course it may just be us, but it seemed to be that with this latest update, the trucks just didn't quite. There may have been some change in the truck itself. I'm not sure, but just it seemed like the slightest off-center push was definitely a problem.
Yeah, it's been like that for a little bit now. But tonight it just seemed a little weird. Personally, I don't know if it was the temp in the track or if the new iRacing update kind of like changed it a little bit. But yeah, it was a little hard. I was getting way more wiggly than I usually do when I was getting pushed. So I'm not really sure. It was just kind of something I guess we get used to and stuff, iron out the mistakes. But yeah, P2 is awesome with the damage we had. We were down 2 trucks by like lap 30, so I thought it was going to be a really bad night, but glad we could salvage at least a little something.
All right, so I know any shout-outs you'd like to throw out there tonight?
All my family and friends watching. They always support me and whenever I do this stuff. Instacart for being on the hood. You guys in the broadcast booth for watching us turn circles a bunch of times, so you got to make it somewhat entertaining. And
a lot of that tonight.
Yeah. And Kevin, I know he's kind of the new admin, Kevin and Gabe, and running it. So big shout out to them. Love those 2 guys. So, I'm glad that I can kind of pump up the Tuesday numbers like for the car count. And I think it was a really good race tonight. It was really racy. Like there's a little bit more caution than what we're used to over here, but I think it was a lot more fun racing. A lot of guys more laid back and just going after it, I felt like. So it was a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, we definitely saw that. Well, congratulations on your P2 finish. I'm going to throw you back in your group. I know Kevin was looking at some things. If you want to ask him to pop up here to the booth before we sign out, that would be great.
10-4, I'll let him know.
Thank you. All right, that was your second place finisher, Zachary Workman. We saw Zachary, great job there finishing up. And we're joined here in the booth with Kevin Freeze, our winner. Kevin, congratulations.
Thank you. Huge thanks to David Overstreet for that one.
Yeah, he said. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, it was awesome watching you all out there, and just kind of curious from what we've seen up in the booth. We asked Zachary about this when you were either getting pushed or pushing the guy in front of you. Zachary said that it was a little bit, more squirrely than normal. Did you experience the same thing out there?
Yeah, and part of that for Zach was he had some front end damage that made his glorious truck like a brick to push. I mean, but it was a lot of fun. These trucks in general are a little harder to push with and to get pushed than the other vehicles, just with the way the draft model is. It not has a tendency to knock you off center quite a bit. So I think that's a lot of it. But I mean, it was a lot of fun out here tonight.
It sure was. We had a good group of guys. It was fun to watch. We saw some good strategy, and obviously there's a lot of action.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's all you can ask for. Like, even with the field this size, we had enough 3 wide there. I mean, you had somehow Sebastian keeping up pretty much. I think he was close to by himself there on the bottom. And, I mean, it was just a fun finish. It sucks for the people who got caught up in some untimely wrecks there. I know I knocked Vicente down the track the one time, and I felt really bad about that. I just didn't anticipate where he was going to be at the right time, and went back to full throttle, pushing just a fraction too early before I had him perfectly lined up. Hate that for him.
Well, we appreciate being able to broadcast this league tonight. It was a blast to watch, and congratulations on your win. Any shout-outs tonight?
Yeah, shout out to all the drivers who came out and ran with us tonight. They did a great job, and thank you to you guys for putting on the show in the booth. I know it's a lot of fun when I'm not able to race because of my work schedule, to be able to watch it while I drive around and see what kind of craziness these guys come up with each week.
Well, we certainly enjoy it. So next week we are at Daytona.
I believe so. I got to double check that. But yeah, Daytona's fun in these trucks. It's a little harder because of the side draft model. It really makes pushing sometimes not too much fun. Yeah, I got to double check the schedule though. It's either a Daytona or an Atlanta. It looks like I'm actually missing a session that I'll build out tonight.
Okay. Well, we're just trying to figure out what to tell our viewers. So tune in next Tuesday night we'll either be at Daytona or Atlanta for the 11th race of our 9th season here with the Super Speedway Kings. And for us at the IWM Broadcast Network, whether you're watching this live or you watch it back at a later time, we appreciate you tuning in to our broadcast here on Tuesday nights, and we look forward to having you next week here on Tuesday nights with the Super Speedway Kings.
Sure do.
All
so
right.
Hope you enjoyed it tonight, folks, and tune in next weekend from John and Rick up in the booth. Have a good one.
All right. Good night, all.